So a break from the norm. Something happened today. Thought I would share this for those people that care. I like gun reviews, but I especially like long-term gun reviews. I like to see what happens to a gun over time. It's a machine, right? So you want to see what parts break, what parts held up, where the wear was. By looking at the wear, you can tell where it's going to break. So I'm going to do this as quick as possible. Go over what I typically carry, how I track it. I've got a book, log book. You could do this however you want. See if I can show this. But I keep track of a couple of things. And I don't know, yeah, you can see that. This was for a Tavor that I bought. And I usually in there keep the price. The first couple of mags, I mark the groupings. So I make a positive, negative. There are guys that keep file cabinets full of the old targets and everything. I just write them down. So at 12 yards, it was shooting down to the left, 1.5 inch groups, iron sights. Made some adjustments, and at 25 yards, X95, this was a 5.56, 4-inch groups with iron sights. Talked about how the mags went in, what I thought about it, how it felt, and then as time goes on, I'll show you a different one that I keep records on. All my guns are in here, by the way. I go through, for instance, and I keep track of how often I clean it. Every time I clean it, I inspect it. Here, for instance, is one of my Glock 19s. See if I can get this in a little better. So you can see for this particular one, shot 50 rounds. Made a note about it being the most accurate Glock to date that I had. Added a Surefire 300 light in 2013. On and on and on. 20 feet consistent at 7 o'clock, so I shoot down and to the left typically. And you can see the small diagram there at the bottom of the circle with the point being the center. Anyway, and then to the left, I've since switched, but this shows the rim oil and the dates that I cleaned it, whether I shot it or not. And it goes on and on. That one, by the way, hasn't been used since 2015. It sits in a desk drawer where I usually sit. And all I do is clean it. Don't shoot it anymore because I've got other Glock 19s. I'll go into that in a second. And then I've got the one I'm going to talk about today, which is a Glock 26. And from there you can see where the dates start. And this goes on for pages. It was 1,300 rounds by 2013. So I started using this Glock, which is that one that we're going to talk about. Me make sure that's clear. Unloaded mag, actually. Set that aside. Clear this one. So that one's clear. Set that aside. And the last one is a SIG P238, condition 1. And my rule is no matter who gives you a gun, if Jesus himself comes down from the sky, the clouds split, and he hands you a gun, you check it to see if it's loaded. That is typically what I do. Get this stuff out of here while I'm talking. So, history on this gun is kind of funny to me. But this is the Glock 26 that I shoot. It's got the original white sights. It's got the number that I don't necessarily hide on it, but anyway, we're going to go over the wear points on that in a second. This one is a little bit interesting. I switched to the SIG P238 a couple of years ago for indoor carry in the winter. If you're going to the movie theater or something like that. Because I didn't like the Glock 26 in my pocket, which is a different story. until I got the 43. I'm not going to the 43X. That'll be a different video, but got rid of this, the SIG. Don't really carry it anymore too often. I was shooting it yesterday, which is why it's loaded and in here for cleaning. But I stick with the Glocks because of a couple reasons. Muscle memory, and because I'm very good with tearing these things down. So, as any Glock native knows, you can tear down a Glock fairly quickly, and the good part about it is all Glocks work the same. So the 26, my 17s, my 19, the 43, if I were to get a 43X, if I were to get any other one, I got a Glock 21, they're all the same. So what I just did here to field strip it, I can do with this in the dark, and then flip that around and redo it. But why are we here today? We're not here for the Glock 43. We're here for the Glock 26. This gun, which I bought November of 99, which I can verify per my book. If you'll remember, Al Gore was running against George Bush Jr., and there was a gun scare at the time. This is a long time ago, so 20 years ago. I've had this gun 20 years. That's when I bought it. I've come back and forth, like I said, from this to another gun, back to this, to the SIG, back to this, to something else, back to this, and I really, really, really just like the Glock. This is a Gen 3. I've tried, put this back in here, with Pierce extensions on the grip for the little finger. I've tried other guns, and I've tried the Gen 4s, I've tried the Gen 5s with the backstrip, and I just really like the Gen 3. It fits my hand. At first, it felt like a brick. Didn't feel like it was big enough until I did the Pierce extension. Probably the best 14 bucks I've ever spent. And the Pierce extension really helped, and this is my go-to. I've got the original factory sights. My philosophy in a carry gun is twofold. One, if it's so dark that I need tritium sights, which in my view are a waste of money and extra because people always want to add extra to their gun. If it's so dark that I need tritium sights, then I shouldn't be shooting the direction that I'm shooting. The second thing is when you have your adrenaline dump, and I know this from a little bit of experience under stress, you're not going to see your damn sights. Most shootings happen really close. You're not going to take the time to aim. And I'm speaking to regular civilians at this point. It's going to go bang. You might not even remember the event, which is not good to tell your attorney. But the sights, to me, in my mind, for my case, before everybody gives me a bunch of internet hate, were a waste. I feel that way for any gun that I would carry. And if I'm not carrying it, what the point use are they really? Now, that's not to talk about RMRs and reflex sights and Trigicons and ACOGs. The tritium there makes sense. It lights up a reticle that's internal. But for this, regular sights have always served me well. And I can do fairly well on shot placement. So anyway, that's the story. I've come back to it. For muscle memory, it feels good. It feels the same. I know there's no safety to fiddle with. My finger is my safety. I always carry it hot. And it breaks down the same way that all other Glocks do. So because of that, not a problem. Now, this particular gun, the reason that I'm talking about it today is it has hit 13,000 rounds. 13,000 rounds, and the barrel has not been changed. I've looked at this under a bore scope. There are no problems in the barrel. It still has the rifling, still looks fairly good. In fact, you can see it there a little bit. The wear points for this are the bottom edge of this feed ramp right here. That's the first one. Sorry about the lighting. Best I can do. I'm not a professional. There are no chips around the crown. Got a lot of wear on the bottom of the barrel. A lot of wear where it sits and shakes. But other than that, 13,000 rounds. If you pull the trigger, it still goes bang. All the internals look good. And what can I say? It just works. Even the slide, as I look it over, you know, I shine them a little bit, keep them oiled, and I've switched to Ballistol. I put frog lube on one. The jury's still out on that, but there are no problems. And I full detail strip it with firing pin, safety plunger, everything else, backspacer, about every 3,000 rounds. 3, sometimes as late as 5. I treat it like car oil. But really, at 13,000 rounds, no issue on this gun. No problems, no wear internally. I've had the trigger mechanism and the slide out. So, if I thought there was going to be a problem, it would probably be with this guy right here, or with the tabs. Sometimes you get a lot of wear on the tabs here, 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 and here. And they all still look, yeah, they all look really good. It's a little bit of wear more than I'd like right there, but it's not bent, it's not cracking. Looks like it's rubbing a little bit more, so I'll put more grease there. So I do grease on the spots that slide or pivot, and I put oil on everything else to cover the surface, and that's about all I do. So anyway, 13,000 rounds, 20 years old, still goes bang when you pull the trigger, still has almost as tight a shot placement as it did before, and I think that's really my skill level, not the gun. But anyway, for those of you that stuck around and cared, wanted to tell me there's better lighting on other channels, I appreciate you still being here. And that's it. So 13,000 rounds, Glock 26, carry gun, still happy with it. No need to replace it. Glock 43, this one's at about 1,500 rounds. I'll slow down on that one. I feel it's a little more delicate. That's another video coming down the road. Anyway, that's it. Take care.